Thanks for tuning in. This video is about foundations. So we don't mean foundation of life, we mean foundation in houses and homes. So this video is going to go over how you can look at homes for deferred maintenance, for problems with buying, selling, how to potentially solve them, and how to basically have a schedule to make sure that the foundation of your house is taken well care of, along with giving you a lot of tips if you're buying a new home and you don't want to find a money pit with a house with foundation problems. I'm David Wright. I'll be your host for the minute of the show. Been in the business 20 years, buying, selling, investing. I'm a full-time landlord with numerous rentals and a couple houses. I hope you enjoy the video. When you're buying, selling, or just being a current homeowner, foundation issues are something you really want to pay attention to, because if you don't, they can have a snowballing effect where they can cost you thousands of dollars. Let's look at some of them as things that can happen if you're not paying attention to your foundation. Bad foundations can cause you to have to maybe replumb your house, maybe rewire your house, maybe have to go in and redo the entire foundation, maybe have to redo certain walls, maybe have to redo your door jambs, your windows. A lot of things that get very, very expensive if you don't notice them. Now, noticing these things is not as easy as you think. If you're not paying attention and looking for all these small details, you may miss it. And if you miss it, next thing you know, it could be a couple $1,000s or $100,000 or a full redo of your foundation. But once you watch this video, you'll be able to identify all these areas to make sure that this doesn't happen to you, whether you're buying, selling, or just a current homeowner. So let's dive into some of the foundations, because more than likely, these are the foundations that you're probably going to have on your house. So number one, let's take a look at slab. Your slab foundation is essentially a giant concrete square underneath your house. It's a couple feet thick and it is really durable. It lasts a long time. It doesn't have any effect with termites, because termites don't eat concrete. But the problem that you have is, if you do have a problem with your concrete slab, it's very expensive. And what do I mean by that? I mean by, if something goes wrong, you may have to cut through the slab to fix the problem. You may have to go underneath the slab to fix the problem, or you may have to raise the slab to fix the problem. All these are very expensive, but overall, your slab foundation is lower maintenance. It's most common for most houses, but when things go wrong, they're a lot more expensive. The next type of foundation is pier and post or raised foundation. And essentially, what is this? Well, it means the house is basically built on almost small stilts. They're raised from underneath the earth, usually with concrete foundations into the earth, but they're essentially on small little posts. So these types of foundations, they're not as strong as concrete, but the difference is this: when you have a problem with your pier and post, it's much easier to fix because you have a crawl space underneath the house. You can easily fix problems, and you can easily repair problems as well. Now, a downside is you do have termite issues with raised foundations, and pier and post, essentially, the post will wear out eventually. They have to be replaced, sometimes reinforced. But overall, the crawl space underneath the house with a pier and post foundation makes repairs, upgrades, and other types of maintenance very easy. Now, there's another thing out there. It's called a basement. A lot of people don't have them in the California area, but in a lot of other states, they're very common. So your basement's underneath the house. Usually it's essentially done underneath a cement foundation, or it can be under a pier and post foundation, which is what you find a lot in California. You have people that made basements out of pier and post areas where the house was on a slant. These types of foundations are a little bit more different. It's more of an area for space in your house, but it is something that if you do have, you want to take care of, you want to watch it, because it's underground. And if things go wrong and you're there, it's a massive problem. All right, let's dive into some main causes of foundation issues and what you should look for. So number one, let's look at erosion. Erosion can have a really bad effect on the foundation of your house, whether it's slab or pier and post. Next, water damage. Water damage is a really, really expensive way to mess up your foundation, and we'll go over ways about how to look for that as well. And then overall, you can also simply have the home didn't have a good foundation in the first place, and things have possibly shifted over time, causing the foundation to move. So like we've been going over, when you're looking for foundation issues, you want to look at windows. You want to look for cracks in the different parts of the windows all around, just to see if the foundation has moved. And the best place to look is on windows and door frames, and we'll go to that next. Here's another area of a window. This one's important because this is a bathroom window where there's lots of moisture inside, and as you can see, there's no gaps here either in the window, showing that the foundations remain to be strong and sound and hasn't moved. So here's another area that you really want to look at, because this goes under for a crawl space in the house. Then we have a French drain combined here as well. So this is really important to see if there's movement in the foundation in this area. So this is an old trick, not about losing your marbles, though a lot of people in real estate have lost their marbles. But this is a test you can use in a house. Any house you go into, get yourself some marbles, take the marbles, put them on the floor, and see if they roll away, because that's going to show you if the foundation slanted, moved, and what direction. Holy cow, the marbles didn't even move. This is amazing. So there's other areas of their flooring that you want to look to see if any of the flooring has bowed, moved, tiles been misplaced, come up, moved down. And once again, if you want to use in these areas, once again, the marble test. Ooh, a little bit of movement there. So we talked about different tools you may want to bring to the house while doing this. Number 1, flashlight. Number 2, a level. Number 3, your marbles. And you can pick up a moisture meter at Home Depot as well and bring that with you also. That way you got everything yourself to make sure you verify this all yourself, or you do it with a professional at the same time. So when you're looking underneath the houses, the crawl space, and you're using your flashlight, you want to be looking for damp areas. You want to be looking for pooling water. It's a great time also to look for little termite piles that come in all underneath the house, and look for other potential damage at the same time. Doing all this ahead of time is really going to save you time and money when you're buying a home or looking to basically upgrade your current house you live in and looking for mistakes. So this is a crawl space. When you look at houses with pier and post, raised foundations, you want to look around to see the crawl space, and you actually want to open up the crawl space, look inside, see if the underneath of the house is dry, well maintained, look for possible termite damage. Having a good, clean, easy access crawl space is super important when you're buying a home on a raised foundation, pier and post. Another thing to think about is areas where there's not a lot of sunlight and things get wet or really dry, like this. As you can see, the homeowners installed French drains underneath there for drainage, and also everything is sloped away from the house so that water doesn't go into the foundation and underneath the house. It goes away and into the French drains. That's something really important you want to look at. Is you never want to have soil erosion or buildup around your house that allows moisture to pool, water to form, and basically breeding ground for insects and bugs too. Another thing to think about is landscaping tips. So for instance, as you can see, there's no hedges directly along the house. Flower beds directly connected to the house and down is a great way to mess up your foundation because of moisture. And the other thing that's not good for your house is big giant trees like this that in 15 years from now will be so big the foundation roots the roots can go underneath the cement foundation and cause you lots of problems. So be careful of big trees that are right next to your house as well. So if you think you're noticing problems with your foundation, or you're in the middle of the home buying process, your first step, the most easiest, will be to call a home inspector. The home inspector will take a look at the home, and then from there they may reach out to you and say, you need to call a foundation expert that will do a further deep dive into the foundation. And if the foundation expert looks at it and goes, ooh, this is overwhelming, they're going to call a structural engineer to have everything a deep dive into. If you're looking for somewhere where you can get these sort of referrals, talk to a really good lender or a good realtor, because a lot of them should know these people in advance and can help you get in contact with them. So the next thing that really helps with keeping moisture and water away from your house is having good rain gutters. You want to make sure your rain gutters are fully functional, cleaned out, because they get filled up with crap and leaves. Make sure they have proper drainage down. And in this case, this drains underground, which then gets ported outside the house, which some houses have, some don't. But if you find a house that has the porting, it's even better. So let's take a look at that. So right here, you can see this is the port where the rain gutter comes down from outside, ports out. So all the moisture comes totally away from the house, drains all the way away, keeps the house really clean and efficient. So sometimes these ports are in the sides of curbs, so you may want to look for that as well. And usually houses that prepared for this are usually better, well maintained, because a lot of people won't invest in the money until things go wrong. So if you may have noticed, we have a reoccurring theme going on, and a lot of it revolves around water and the damage it does to your foundation. Well, water leads to moisture, and moisture is another thing that we can control to help you have foundation damage. Let's take a look at some of the ways you can control moisture in your house to prevent foundation damage. Number one, they have an issue called vapor barriers. It's underneath your house. It prevents moisture from moving around and prevents it from settling into the soil and altering the foundation. Number two, we have dehumidifiers that you can put underneath your house to keep things dry, to take away moisture. Sometimes you even use them above your foundation or underneath your crawl space. Number three, with your crawl space underneath your house, you need to make sure that there's proper ventilation going through there at all times. If there's no ventilation and no airflow, moisture accumulates, which then causes damage to your house. There's other things called an encapsulation system that works as well, similar to the vapor barriers, but each one has a time and place for your home and your situation. None of the things we went over will matter if you don't periodically take a look at these things 6 months to a year around your house. So periodically take the time to look around your house, especially after extreme weather events, heavy rains, heavy winds, even cold spells, extreme heat spells. Take a look at everything, and then also make sure that you notice, are you seeing cracks around your windows, doors, anywhere around your flooring? Are noticing a musty smell? If you do this every 6 months to a year, you can avoid a lot of these expensive problems. So we went through a lot. This is the end of our video, but if you wanted to sign up and get like an annual inspection checklist that you can hang on your fridge or your door, your garage, just to remind you, hit the link below and download it. Otherwise, if you also want to sign up for my newsletter to get tips, more things about investing, mortgages, real estate, interest rates, just a quick weekly update, sign up below as well, or you can text me or email me also. And other than that, if you got more questions, concerns, reach out to me. Otherwise, just here to help and look to provide value to you. And thank you again for your time and watching.